Kevin McReynolds had a 2-run homer to put them ahead to win it. But last night, Steve Avery came back with a superb outing, 4 hits. What more to ask for? Tonight's the rubber match game. Watch us on TBS.
Don Sutton, Skip Carey, welcoming you to another night of Atlanta Braves baseball from Shea Stadium in New York. A perfect night to play the game, and it turns out to be the rubber game of the 3-game series. Those of you around the country may have seen 2 nights ago when the Braves lost to Frank Viola and the Mets by a 2-1 count. Well, the Braves bounced back 1-6-1 last night. And Don, no doubt who the star of the game was.
Had to be Steve Avery. Had a shot at his second career shutout. Lost that in the 9th inning when Howard Johnson homered. But he did get his second career complete game. Went 9 innings, pitched a 5-hitter, gave up 1 run. Obviously very pleased with that. But if you saw Steve today, he probably wanted to talk about this. A triple, 1 of 4 hits that Steve got. The last time a National League pitcher got 4 hits, it was Danny Jackson. And running the bases here, running out of gas a little bit, but still proud of that triple. And tonight, Skip, Pete Smith could use a couple of runs. He has pitched well every time out. A win would be good for him.
And his pitching opponent, a guy who's pitched well, too, Wally Whitehurst for the Mets. Rubber game of the series, back with the starting lineups. Play-by-play story right after this.
In New York, game 3 of the 3-game set here before the Braves take it north to Montreal and then on to Philadelphia. Here's Bobby Cox's starting lineup. Leading off and playing in left field, it'll be Otis Nixon. Jeff Blauser will be at third base and bat second. The center fielder is Ron Gant. He'll hit in the 3rd slot. Batting cleanup and in right field, it's David Justice. Sid Bream is at first base. Greg Olson continues to hit, do a good job behind the plate. He will catch again tonight and bat 6th. The second baseman is Mark Lemke. Rafael Belliard, the Iron Man, started every Braves game. He's in there again tonight. He'll hit 8th. And on the mound, a right-hander, Pete Smith. Defensively, the Mets will line them up like this. McReynolds, Coleman, and Brooks. That's the outfield. The infield is Johnson, Elser, Jeffries, and Magadan. Rick Cerrone again gets a start behind the plate. And on the mound, a right-hander, Wally Whitehurst. The umpiring crew for tonight, Terry Tata has the plate. Jeff Kellogg, a substitute umpire. Somebody must be vacationing. Second base, it's Steve Ripley. Third base, it's Bill Hahn. There's a look at Wally Whitehurst, right-hander. There you see his record. Good curveball, pretty good slider. Not much of a changeup. He's been working on it. But what you can look for and what the Braves hitters can look for, he will throw strikes. One of the best strikeout to walk ratios in the National League last year and continuing it this year. A quick look at the National League scores. A lot of games were played this afternoon. San Francisco lost to Chicago, that 4-3. Philadelphia nipped Houston by 1. The Dodgers put pressure on the Braves and everybody following as they nipped Pittsburgh. St. Louis hammered San Diego. They're just underway in Montreal, no score. We'll show you the American League a little bit later. About set to go. Once again, to kick it off for you is Skip Carey.
Okay, Don, thanks very much. Otis Nixon leads it off against Whitehurst, who's from Shreveport, Louisiana. Pitched at the University of New Orleans. Last year, divided his time between the Mets and Tidewater. He's been on that shuttle for a couple of years. Has a good breaking ball. And as Don told you, excellent control. For the Mets, it's about time to get going. New York is in 2nd place, but they're 6.5 games behind the Pirates, 7 on the loss side. Boy, a perfect night here. It's about 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. They play Nixon bunched towards center in the outfield, and the pitch is a strike at the knees, 0-1. Otis at 366 overall, 373 as a starter. The pitch. Fastball, he bunts right back to the mound. Easy play, Whitehurst, 1 out. Nixon tried to bunt, but bunted it right back to the pitcher. 1 away for Jeff Blauser in the number 2 hole tonight. In his last 14 games, Jeff with 18 RBI. His average now at 276. The right-hand hitter digs in. Fast strike at the knees. It's 0-1. Blauser, 2 out of 7 in the series with a couple of RBIs.
And that's about the best fastball you will see out of Whitehurst. He's not going to burn you up with the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but excellent control, sets up the breaking ball with his fastball.
Good breaking ball. So the count goes to 0-2.
Whitehurst was a part of that 3-team trade that sent Jay Howell and Alfredo Griffin to L.A., that brought Jesse Orozco down there, that sent Bob Welch up to Oakland because he came along with 2 other pitchers from Oakland so that Oakland could get Jesse Orozco to trade down to L.A.
Starter to go. Apparently stopped in time. The ball pops away. They asked for help, and he did stop. Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, makes the call. He's just up from the minor leagues as Jerry Crawford vacations and is probably looking in from his home near Philadelphia. What would you have called that, Jerry? Same way, I'm sure. A ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball right side. Magadan has it. Whitehurst covers. Perfect toss. 2 down. That brings Ronnie Gant to the plate. He was one of the heroes last night with a 2-run triple. Gant now at 217, but with 11 homers and 31 RBI. Gant has 40 hits this year, 23 of them for extra bases, 11 doubles, 11 homers, a triple. He got the triple last night. Checking the scoreboard, the Cardinals hammered the Padres today 12-1. Dodgers 3-2 winners over the Pirates. Phils beat Houston 5-4. Cubs 4-3 over the Giants. The pitch. Swung, little looping line drive, short right field. That's going to drop for a hit. So Gant is aboard with a 2-out single. And David Justice will take time away from his television duties to bat cleanup for Atlanta.
There's too much future for him to start doing the opens like that, isn't it? Well, let's critique him. How did David do in the tees?
I thought he'd done good. The rumors are he's going to ask me to play right field in that cleanup tomorrow night in Montreal.
And I sure hope I have veto power over that.
Me too. He leads the league in RBIs with 48, a .313 hitter.
You know, you and I were remarking about a week or so ago about Ron Gant not getting any hits the other way. The average is creeping up slowly, and it's going to climb more when he can get hits like the one he just got.
Throw to first, runner back. Braves had another wacky night on the bases last night. Before they scored, they had runners thrown out at first, second, third, and home again.
That's the cycle. That completes the cycle.
Fast strike at the knees, inside corner. Good location on that pitch. 0-1. Sid Bream waits on deck. They're 2 out in the inning. It's up to Justice to do something. They play him around toward right. A lot of room in left center field for David. There you see the outfield alignment. Justice has opened that stance a bit more again. Throw to first, runner back. I think he's taken a page out of Terry Pendleton's book and varies his stance depending on who the pitcher is and what he expects from him.
It's not a bad idea because all the pitchers are not going to pitch you the same way as long as you don't change your basic swing. One thing you can see about him that doesn't change, though, that left foot still close to the plate and the upper half of his body still close to the strike zone.
Fastball away. A ball and a strike.
You could also see Rick Cerrone giving the target for that fastball up, too. Everybody is very aware that down and in is a danger zone for Dave Justice.
A ball and a strike. Caught the outside corner. 1-2. So Justice falls in the hole.
I think the Mets may be one of the clubs. We've talked before about Roger Craig calling a lot of things as far as pitching is concerned from the bench. You saw Rick Cerrone give a couple of side swipes on his right thigh there. And then automatically Whitehurst went to the slide step, the short stride, not the big kick. They could tell him every now and then to shorten his time on the delivery to home.
Throw to first, runner back. Justice stands back in. A ball and 2 strikes. Gant edges away at first. He was thrown out trying to steal last night for the first time this year. The 1-2 pitch. Here it is. He's running. Low and inside. Cerrone's throw is high. Still got him, and the inning is over. So Gant cut down stealing on a fine throw by Rick Cerrone. 1 hit. No runs, no errors, none left. At the end of a half inning, your score. Atlanta nothing. New York coming to bat.
Score, Mets come into bat here in the first inning, and here's their lineup. Leading off, it's the center fielder Vince Coleman. Dave Magadan, the first baseman, bats second. Greg Jeffries is at second. Kevin McReynolds will hit cleanup. Howard Johnson, the third baseman, batting fifth. Hubie Brooks is in right field. Cerrone behind the plate. Elster will be the shortstop, and Wally Whitehurst on the mound. Defensively, the Braves will line it up with Nixon, Gant, and Justice in the outfield. Blauser, Belliard, Lemke, and Breen, that's the infield. Olson on the mound and making his 5th start, Pete Smith. And here's a look at the American League. Not a whole lot going on. Most of it a little bit later on.
Coleman is hitting .262, a homer, 16 RBIs, and he looks at a fastball low as the bottom of the first gets underway. Coleman 1 out of 12 in his career against Pete Smith, who is 0-4 lifetime against New York. Outside, he's in the hole 2-0. This guy leads the league in stolen bases with 33.
The Mets have also convinced him that it's okay to take a few walks. Last year in the St. Louis, only 35 all year long. He's already into the 30s this year, and we're just a third of the season gone.
This guy was a football player in college at Florida A&M. He was a punter. Wouldn't you think he'd be running him back the way he can run? But he was the kicker, and a pretty good one. The 2-1. Foul tip back. That may have got him a piece of Greg Olson.
Well, you had to feel safe sending your 10 other guys down there to chase the guy receiving it. That's a pretty good safety to have back there. Once he breaks past the other guys, got a tough chance outrunning this guy.
Also, you better be careful you keep containment, because if he decides to run out of punt formation, he's liable to go 80 or 90 yards. The 2-2. Curve, good pitch, pop foul back and out of play. Stays 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the things Pete Smith has done since coming back right out of the chute has gone out, has not thrown tentatively, used good leverage. He's had good stuff from the first pitch since coming back from rehab, and he has pitched well enough in 2 or 3 of those ball games to have a win.
Fastball lined into the seats.
There's what he's done. 4 starts. This is his 5th one. Other than the last one, where he went 4 2/3 innings and gave up 4 runs, he has really pitched well. 2 runs in his first, 2 in his second, 1 in his third. Has gone better than 6 innings in 2 out of the 3. So Pete is all the way back in recovery.
Just missed with a curveball. Smith wanted that, so did Olson. But Terry Tata said no.
Backdoor curveball. He and Greg Olson set this one up to try to catch the outside corner. Look where Olson wants it. Looks like it was there. Caught the plate, but must have been a little bit high.
Must have been above the belt under the new strike zone. A 3-2 pitch. Nowhere near that time. So a speedy runner is aboard. And Pete Smith, who throws to first a lot, will have an opportunity to do so here as Dave Magadan comes to the plate. Magadan, in all the papers here in New York today, really lashed out at himself. So the reason this team is not doing any better is he's hitting 80 points below where he was a year ago. That's nice of him. It can't all be his fault.
First baseman, Dave Magadan.
As we mentioned, Coleman, 33 out of 43. Magadan hitless in the series. It comes as no surprise that Pete throws over to first.
Before the first pitch, it's almost automatic. Now it's for real.
So you're telling me ESPN stole our throw over to first stats?
Yeah, they've turned it into a show every week. They run.
Do they put an asterisk up and give us credit or anything?
Compliments of our friends at TBS. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm usually working that night. Keep that or watching the play.
He ran up to bunt. That's a little outside. 1 ball, no strikes. And again, Smith looks at Terry Tata as if to say, what's going on here?
Leading the National League, as you would expect. He's done it 6 straight times, shooting for 7. And it's really something when you lead all the personal categories, all the other players, but when you have more stolen bases than a lot of the teams.
Line to foul down the left side. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike.
Magadan is a good guy to have hitting in this second spot. He can hit the ball all over the ballpark. Really doesn't like to pull it. Very patient. Last year walked 74 times, struck out only 55 for his career. He has 208 walks and only about 150 strikeouts, so he can be patient enough to take a couple of strikes and give Coleman a shot at running. Greg Jeffries, on the other hand, in that second spot, likes to swing the bat, and it takes a lot away from him as a hitter.
Coleman back easily. 1 game underway in the National League. Cincinnati got a run in the first at Montreal. The Reds 4 games out. The Braves 2. The Padres 3.5. Houston 10.5. The Giants 11. The Dodgers, of course, on top. He fakes going. Strike called. Throw is to second. Coleman didn't go. Olsen saw him break and then went right on through with the play.
If you're not sure, it's the right thing to do. That's a good reason for having a left-handed batter hitting second in the lineup. Because what Olsen saw was the break, and with Magadan there, he couldn't tell if he was running or not, went ahead and made the throw. Also a good idea for Belliard to back up like he did. You could see where Magadan was. He had turned around, had completely screened out Olsen.
Tell you what's fortunate there, Magadan knew that he had stopped, and he didn't duck at all. He's lucky he didn't get hit right in the back of the head just as he released that throw. A ball and 2 strikes, so Pete is ahead of a hitter. Coleman edges away and scrambles back. Closer play, but he's in there safely.
With a guy like Coleman, you're not going to stop him from stealing. The only thing you can do is try to make it difficult, but what you can't do is sacrifice that hitter, give up a chance to get out a hitter just to stop a guy who's going to be successful 80% of the time anyway.
Pop foul back and out of play by Dave Magadan. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Jeffries is next, then McReynolds.
Also, a lot of guys who are pitchers get in the habit of doing the same thing every time. Maybe throwing over as soon as they come set, and then taking a lot of time or varying the time between throwing, but going ahead and pitching on his second pitch. Pete's done that every time thus far. Throw over once, then go to the plate. If Coleman is running, now's the time, because he's seen everything Pete Smith has to see or has to show him, and it's a pretty good time for Pete to try to throw a breaking ball and get out Magadan.
Curve fouled away. The Mets today made some news. They recalled right-handed pitcher Julio Valera from Tidewater and optioned infielder Chris Donalds back down there. Pete in his Don Johnson look tonight hasn't gone to the razor yet today. A lot of pitchers like to do that the nights they work or the days they work.
Must have called a balk on Pete Smith. I really didn't see anybody make a big deal out of it. The only thing that they could have called it for, and just observing from up here, not watching the monitor, would have been because Pete didn't come to a complete stop.
Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. The pitch just missed low and inside. 2-2.
We'll take a look at it here. We'll see if he did pause.
Sure.
That's a stop. Somebody got a little trigger happy in calling that because that was a full stop.
The third base umpire made the call. Low and inside, 3-2, and he's digging himself an early coffin here.
That's one of those calls, too, that the manager cannot come out and argue on, can he?
And you really wonder why. Why not? If you think the guy's wrong, why can't you say so? Because they have a stronger union.
Than manager?
Oh, you betcha. The 3-2. Swung, driven, deep center field. Gant on the run. Should get there, but he misplays it. It's over his head. Coleman around third. He will score. It's a double for Magadan. That ball should have been caught. It was hit very well, but Ronnie was just loping back, and the ball got over his head.
There's a little wind blowing out right toward left center field. You can see the ball go up in the air, and it drifts over Ron's head, and he gets into a position where he can't go up and get it. You can see he was heading toward right field. The ball's drifting toward left, and Pete made the pitch that would have gotten the out. And against a ball club that can put pressure on you, like the Mets can, you can't afford to not get the outs when they give them to you.
And Ronnie Gant, as the season progresses, proves to you more and more he really has trouble going back on the ball. The pitch. Curve of beauty in there, 0-1. Pete Smith now has to keep his cool. He had a balk call go against him that looked like it was a phantom one, and a well-hit fly ball misplayed. He's got to forget about that and keep him from having a big inning. 0-2. Jeffries, by the way, 4 out of 10 in his career against Smith. One of those hits a home run, so he's been a tough out for him. We've seen several times when Ronnie Gant has really had trouble going back on the ball. He can come in as good as anybody.
And plays fairly shallow anyway.
Foul tips into a strikeout. Jeffries is out of there, 1 away. He hears the Boo Birds here. And Kevin McReynolds, the batter.
That's some good pitching, and that's a big out. It's a big out because he got the strikeout, and he got an out without allowing Jeffries to advance Magadan to third.
McReynolds hit a 2-run homer here the other night off Charlie Leibrandt to pace the Mets to their 2-1 win. He's hitting .266. 2 out of 7 in the series. He's in the hole, 0-1. The ball Magadan hit is, of course, a double. But I say again, it was playable. Good breaking ball. And again, Smith out in front, 0-2. That leadoff walk has come home to roost. And the Mets lead 1-0. Howard Johnson waits on deck. There's only 1 out in the inning. Moved him off the plate with a fastball, a ball, and 2 strikes.
That's a good spot for it. You can get McReynolds out inside, but if you watch him swing, his first move is to open up that front foot about 6 inches. So if you're going to come inside and you leave it on the inside corner, normally a good pitch to most, right in the middle of his strike zone, that's where he got Charlie Leibrandt the first night here.
The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball outside into the dirt. It's 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're with you tomorrow night from Montreal, and Tom Glavine goes for number 11 against Mike Gardner. Then John Smoltz against Dennis Martinez on Saturday night. Charlie Leibrandt and Chris Nabholz on Sunday. The 2-2 breaking ball hit on the ground to third. Blauser has it. Looks the runner back, throws him out, 2 down. So McReynolds is retired, and Howard Johnson will come to the plate. He'll bat left-handed against the right-hander. Johnson hitting .274 from the left side, just .192 the other way.
I think it's too early in the ballgame to start thinking about, well, pitch around the lefty to get to the righty, because Hubie Brooks, who's coming up next, is a good hitter against both lefties and righties. And it's a time in the ballgame now, early in the ballgame, Pete's given up the run. Could have been different to just reach back and get this guy and start next inning with Hubie Brooks leading off.
One ball, no strikes. Johnson on off year for him last year, 244, but he still drove in 90 runs. There's a strike at the knees on the outside edge. His big year with was 89, 36 homers, 101 RBIs. And 87, 36 homers, 99 RBI. This guy has a total of 161 stolen major league bases, making 171 coming into tonight's game. So for a power guy, he runs well. 2 balls, 1 strike. Well, Don, I know you and everybody in baseball joins us. Sympathies to Dave Drevecki, the former Padre and Giant pitcher, who's going to have his left arm amputated. He's a battler. He'll come out of it just fine. Hit foul down the first base line.
He's a class guy who has his faith rooted in the right place, and like he said, he can't wait to get it over with and get out there on the speaking circuit, because he will certainly command the attention, and the story that he has to tell is a good one and one that everybody will want to hear. Class guy, we wish him well.
2-2 here. The hitters have already totally obliterated both batters' boxes. You wonder why they bother to even paint them. The 2-2. Line, center field, base hit, a Reynolds score. Howard Johnson drives in a run. It's 2-0. Just reached out and flicked the wrist and ripped it into center. 2-0 New York for another good hitter, Hubie Brooks.
A good pitch, too. Down and away changeup. Look how low that is. He just threw the bat at it, and that had to flash back memories of a Terry Kennedy swing as it came by Pete Smith's head. That's one of those where you give a hitter credit. You made the pitch, he went out and got it with one hand and hit it hard enough to get it into center field.
Brooks hitting .281, 10 homers, 29 RBIs. Brooks was a Met, signed as a free agent with L.A., and then, which was his home, and then they traded him when they got Darryl Strawberry right back to New York. He's also played for the Expos. He's been a good, solid player at third, at short, in left, and in right for many, many years. Was Bob Horner's teammate, in fact, at Arizona State. Runner goes. Safe. Number 11 in 17 tries for Howard Johnson. So he's immediately in scoring position with 2 outs.
And what Pete did was the one throw over, then go home on the next pitch. And as soon as he started any motion, Johnson was off and going. Olsen had no chance to throw him out here. Made it close with a really good throw right on the bag, but Johnson had a running jump.
On the curveball, high and inside. So it's 2-0 and a long first inning for Peter Smith. Johnson edges away. The Braves play Brooks to hit to the off field against Smith. They don't think he can pull him. Just missed. 3-0. This one isn't starting out too well. Rick Cerrone is on deck. Now they'll put him on and pitch to Cerrone. So there's the second walk of the inning. This one is intentional. And Cerrone comes to the plate hitting .265 with a homer and 8 RBI. Cerrone in the series, 2 out of 6. Leo Mazzoni on his way to the mound to talk with Pete Smith. A very unpleasant first inning for Pete. But if he can get out of it down 2-0, it's certainly not time to give things up. Cerrone has been at this for a while. He broke in '75 back at Oklahoma City in AAA ball. Has never played lower than that. He's been all over the place. Cleveland, Toronto, the Yankees. 1 year in Atlanta back in '85. Then with Milwaukee, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and now finally the Mets. So he has some stories to tell about various teams, and he takes the strike 0-1.
Did a pretty good job for the Yankees last year. Hit over 300 in a part-time role.
Really, his worst year was with us. He hit .216 back in '85. The runners lead. Breaking ball hit up the middle. Should be played. Belliard takes it himself, and the inning is over. But 2-run score for the New Yorkers. They come on 2 hits. No errors were charged. A couple of runners were left. At the end of an inning, your score: Mets 2, Braves nothing. When Ronnie Gant was thrown out stealing in the first. So he leads off the Atlanta second with the Braves down 2-0. And he fouls the first pitch away, 0-1. Nothing New York at the end of an inning. Fastball inside. Whitehurst has been staked to a 2-0 lead here. Durham won their game last night down on the farm. Macon lost. Justice fouls another one away. Greenville lost 8-7 to Orlando, and Columbus hammered Richmond 13-6. Deion Sanders 1 for 4 last night. He was 1 for 4 and stole 3 bases. Justice out on strikes. They have to tag him 1 away. First strikeout of the night for Whitehurst.
His best pitch is a curveball. When he's ahead in the count, don't look for a good one to hit. Look at this, a big biter. Gets you 2 ways. Gets the downward rotation on it, which causes it to move, and then takes a lot off of it. When he's throwing that for strikes, his fastball, which is probably in the middle 80s, explodes on hitters.
Sid Bream, the batter. He's at .286 with 7 homers, 30 runs driven in. A little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Crowd of 25,000 or so at Shea Stadium tonight. They've really done a nice job fixing this ballpark up, both inside and out. Since Mr. Doubleday bought this team, they really have shaped things up around here.
Well, did you recognize the clubhouse when you walked in it downstairs?
No,
they have really expanded that, knocked it out, and made it a nice place to visit.
The outside, too, has got a new coat of paint and some new artistic lights flashing. There's a better way to describe that, but I'm not very artistic, so I'll let it go with that. 2 balls, 1 strike. Lined into left center field, but McReynolds is there. 2 down. Bream hits it hard, but out. So far, nothing doing for Atlanta. Greg Olson, the batter, he's back up to .301 with the average. 2 homers, 13 runs driven in.
They're in the second inning up in Montreal. Cincinnati leading at 1-0, but excitement on the field. Lupinella just got kicked out for arguing with the second base umpire.
Who was the second base umpire?
Did not say in the little bit that I got passed on to me.
The pitch is a fast strike. Well, unless there have been any vacations up there, Bob Davidson is the guy. What was he arguing about, a balk call?
Just said he was arguing it with the second base umpire. Davidson has been known to call a balk every now and then.
Every so often. Though they've all cut back this year despite the balk tonight. The 1-1 pitch. Slow curve, lined left field. McReynolds comes on. He dives. Great catch. Highway robbery. Kevin McReynolds takes a base hit away from Greg Olson. No hits, no runs, no errors, none left. This is a wonderful play. Watch McReynolds. Mets 2, Braves nothing. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Kevin Elster will lead it off. Don't forget, the Braves come home and take on the self-same Mets a week from tonight. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon in Atlanta. Pop foul back this way. Into the upper deck. And Elster quickly in the hole, 0-2. Just missed with a breaking ball, a ball, and 2 strikes. Elster, a fine fielder, has been kept out of the lineup by a weak bat. He's hitting .236 this year, which is a little better, really. Pop foul back again. A ball and 2 strikes. Elster 1 for 7 in the series. By the way, Don is standing by with the disclaimer, which we don't have to do anymore, but which we do anyway, night after night after night, to the tremendous tedium of the entire audience. But Don has to do that.
Why don't we have to do it anymore?
Because the FCC doesn't care anymore, but I guess our station didn't get the message. Three balls, 2 strikes.
That's the first time I've ever heard anybody disclaim the disclaimer.
Line, fair ball. We're in the soup again. Elster stands at second with a leadoff double. And a very tough start for Pete Smith tonight.
Twice tried to finish him off with breaking balls. When he couldn't, came back with the fastball. Stayed on the inner half of the plate. That's where Elster liked it. Keeps it inside the foul line, and it's a leadoff double.
The Braves, of course, expect the bunt here. Keep an eye on how hard Sid Bream charges from first base, if you can. Here comes the stretch. Watch Bream. He is right there. That's a play the Braves have used successfully in the past, where Blauser comes in on the grass but has no intention of charging at all. Bream charges so hard that he can even field the ball bunted down the third baseline.
Blauser is a guy who relays the signal. You see Bream there. Watch him start creeping in. He doesn't really kick it in gear until he sees Whitehurst square around. As soon as here he comes.
And the bunt is foul. He tried to bunt it down the third base line.
And you see what that does, Skip? It forces the pitcher to try to make a perfect bunt down third. All of a sudden, it's a chance to get ahead if you're Pete Smith. Watch Whitehurst try to make the perfect bunch on the line. Pulls the bat over there, and as a result, instead of laying it back out in front and taking his chances, he gets strike 1 on him.
It would be mighty tempting, the way that infield is broken up, to just sort of show bunt and try to slap it by somebody.
Well, that's a play a lot of teams use.
He takes the strike, and it's 1-2. Again, Bream was right there, and now things will loosen up a little bit, though Whitehurst could bunt again. He's hitting .222 on the year. He has a double to his credit.
We're kind of watching the wrong guy as far as defensing is concerned. Jimmy Williams is a guy who sends the signs out on this play. He'll send them to Jeff Blauser. He'll relay them to the rest of the infielders. And then they'll hope that the bunt is put in play. What you want the pitcher to do is make the bunt here, because normally you'll get the out you want.
He's swinging to third. Look the runner back. 1 out. So Whitehurst is retired and can't move the runner to third, and Vince Coleman is the batter. He walked, scored the first run. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from Shea Stadium in New York. After 2, Reds lead the Expos 1-0. American League after 2, Kansas City 2-0 over Baltimore. After 2.5, Toronto 1-0 over Cleveland. And in the first, they're at it again. Minnesota 1-0 over the Yankees. Going for their 11th in a row.
That breaking ball dropped in there for strike 1 is the call he didn't get the first time Coleman came through. But he thought he had him struck out.
This is a perfect night at Shea Stadium if you could win the game. The weather is beautiful. The wind is such that the planes are on the landing approach past Shea rather than the takeoff approach, and that's fun too, to watch them come swooping in toward LaGuardia Airport, which is less than a half mile away. Fouled away. Yesterday, however, they told me a bit of a scare here. There was a thunderstorm in New York, and a plane was on approach to Shea and had to divert because of the weather and came skimming over the top of a light tower in left field. Missed it, the FAA says, by some 800 feet. But Bobby Cox, Pat Corrales, who were in the Atlanta dugout at the time, said it was a scary sight. The wind was whipping around. Strike called, inside corner. Coleman turns right. That's the second out, second strikeout.
Beat that fastball with a little movement on it. Runs back out over the plate about 4 inches. Starts it inside, catches the inside corner. Good job by Olson of catching it toward the strike zone rather than pushing it back toward the hitter.
Dave Magadan is the batter. Magadan hit a long fly to center that fell for a double. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Ronnie Gant still plays a very shallow center field. He's backed up a couple of steps now.
You look at the defense, that's about as straight away as you can get, and the reason for that is Magadan is a guy who really doesn't try to pull the ball. He just puts it in play, uses the whole field.
Curve missed the inside corner.
Not exactly the guy in the Met lineup you'd like to have there. Only one time has a pitcher been able to strike him out in this situation, and he has a good eye. He's tied for the National League lead with 42 walks.
Be careful here. He guessed fastball, got fastball, but fouled it off. 2 balls, 1 strike. Greg Jeffries is next. There are 2 out in the inning, however.
If you watch him and you watch Tony Gwynn, you watch Wade Boggs hit, there are a lot of similarities. A couple of them are the hips open up, but the hands stay back, so they get a little bit longer to look at a pitch, and that split second allows him to serve the ball to left to drive it to center.
Way outside. 3 ball. 3 balls, 1 strike. Again, Magadan has the pitcher at his mercy. He can look for a pitch in this 3-1 situation. But with first base open, the Braves won't give in to him, I wouldn't think. Should be out of the inning. Belliard fields and throws. Got it. A leadoff double comes to nothing in the New York second. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. We have played 2 with your score. Mets 2, Braves nothing. He will lead it off. It will be Lemke, Belliard, and Smith in the 3rd inning. Fastball low, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, we'll be able to spot when our Delta charter comes swooping down to land to take us to Montreal. There's a drive into right center field. Brooks on the run. He'll never get there. How far will Lemke get? He's at second. He's racing for third. He will make it easily with no throw, a stand-up triple. He stung that ball. And the Braves have a runner at third and nobody out.
Hit it hard, crossed up the defense, too, because they had him swung around a little bit to left center. Whitehurst's fastball is a good one, but it's not one he can just rear back and fog down the middle. He has it to use it to set up his breaking ball. And Lemke hit this one all the way to the wall. By the time Brooks got to it, there was no play at third. He strolls in with a stand-up triple. Braves are tripling Shea Stadium to death. That's 3 in the last 2 days.
Rafael Belliard at .239 for the year. 1 out of 7 with an RBI in this series. Pop foul back, 0-1. The infield is back at short and second, willing to concede a run for an out.
But at the corner, they figure Belliard is a little bit of a slap hitter anyway. There's not going to serve any useful purpose for Johnson or Magadan to be back, so they're going to be in. And anything there, they'll come to the plate or at least hold Lemke at third.
The outfield is in, too, especially in center and right. The 0-1 pitch. Curve, a little chopped on the third base line, but foul, and he is in the hole 0-2, and you don't want to strike out here. Belliard has batted 180 times this year and struck out 34. He's in an 0-2 hole. Belliard hustled hard down the first baseline, thinking that might be a fair ball. That's the right thing to do. Let the umpire. You can always come back. And it took him a little time to do just that.
Well, if he's going to drive him home, it'll be on a ground out or a base hit, because it's been over 2 years since Rafael Belliard has hit a sacrifice fly. And this telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club. Is in solely for the entertainment of our body. Will you quit playing with my mic? Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited. There, don't you feel better?
Not a bit. Got him with a fastball. That hurt. Second strikeout for Whitehurst. Now, if he can get the pitcher, he's got a chance to get out of it.
Got him in a hole early, came inside on him. A good sinking fastball. Wanted to give him a pitch that he couldn't hit in the air, and got the good result. Got the result he wanted with it.
Boy, a squeeze play is a possibility here, and the Mets know it too, as Pete Smith looks at Jimmy Williams. Rick Cerone is looking into the dugout to his manager, Bud Harrelson. Infield comes in now for the Mets. Let's see how the Braves play it. Whitehurst off the stretch to hold the runner as long as possible. 0-1. He showed no sign of bunting. Now, down in the count, the pitch out becomes an easier play for New York if they want to do it.
Boy, there's a whole bunch of signs being flashed here. Bobby Cox to Jimmy Williams, who relays it to Pete Smith and to Lemke. Now, from the dugout, Bud Harrelson is calling pitch out or no pitch out to Cerone, who is relaying pitches to Whitehurst.
The 0-1. Right through there, taking 0-2. Well, you could still squeeze, but now a foul ball is, of course, an out.
You notice what Jimmy Williams does every time on this situation, goes over and talks to the runner at third. If he didn't, the one time that he did go over and talk to him, you would know that the squeeze was on.
He took strike 3 at the knee. Pete argues about it, but he's out of there. That's 3 strikeouts for Whitehurst. Now it takes a base hit.
And 2 big ones, getting Belliard and Smith. Cerone sets up on the inside corner. Almost an identical pitch that he threw Rafael Belliard.
Nixon was out trying to bunt his first time. He bunted it right back to the mound. Whitehurst gets his windup back. The pitch. Swung, chopped up the middle, headed for center field. Base hit. Nixon beat it right into the ground, but got it up the middle for a hit. What a pick-me-up that is. The 2-out single. He drives in his 10th run of the year.
His reputation, the attempted bunt early, helped him get this base hit. Just the fact that you know he's going to bunt, everybody in the infield has to shorten up a couple of steps. That couple of steps made the difference so that Elser Jeffries could not get to it. That's some good clutch 2-out hitting from Otis Nixon.
And he might be trying to swipe a base to get into scoring position as Jeff Blauser stands in. Two to 1 our score. The hits are even at 3. Throw to first and the runner scampers back.
By the way, the top 3 throwing the first are Deshays, Cone, and Burkett.
Thank you. To the plate. Pitch out. Nothing doing. 1 ball, no strikes. Jimmy Williams runs through the signs at third.
Which probably don't mean a whole lot to Otis Nixon. He's the only guy on the roster who has the green light to run anytime he wants to.
Wonder when Otis's appeal will be held on
That's
his
right.
suspension.
Mr. White is out of the city today.
Downstairs, 2-0.
Or out of the city this week while the Braves are visiting. Might be a possibility next week, I heard. When
I know
the Braves are in Philadelphia.
Dibbles is being held on the 17th, I think I read today.
That's Monday. So might be a chance of Otis getting his Tuesday or Wednesday.
The stretch. He's going. Check, swing, grounder to third. That hurts. Throw to first in time, inning over. Blauser didn't get a full cut. But the Braves get one of them back on 2 hits. They leave one. We go to the bottom half of the third inning from Shea Stadium. Your score, New York 2, Atlanta 1. We start the bottom of the third, low and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from Shea Stadium, New York. Well hit right field. Back goes Justice. He'll have room. Shy of the track, 1 away. That ball seemed to die on Jeffries. He must have gotten it off the end of the bat when it was first touched off. I thought he might have something going.
Down in the strike zone, he would have driven this a little bit more. He likes it down from the left side. This one up and away, and you can see it running away, and you called it right near the end of the bat. Big swing, hit it hard, but there wasn't enough of the bat to drive it out of here.
Kevin McReynolds stands in, bounce to third, his first time. Right through there, 0-1. Nothing and 2. A fastball right down the middle. McReynolds must have been looking for something else. The 0-2 pitch, here it is. Curve hit hard. Good play by Jeff Blauser. 2 down. I'll tell you what, one of the most improved things about this ball club is Jeff Blauser's defense. He was always a tentative fielder in the past, but not this year. He's done a heck of a job wherever he has played, and it's been second, short, and third.
Well, do you believe that good defense is contagious? You get Pendleton, you get Breen playing well. I think everybody is working a little bit harder on defense.
Howard Johnson drove in a run with a single, hit a down and away change of pace into center field his first time. Fast strike outside corner, 0-1. QB Brooks would be next to pitch. Chased a high fastball way out of the strike zone, 0-2. Johnson takes a little walk around the batter's box.
Like Tom Glavine, Pete Smith has 2 fastballs. He can run one away. Then he has that one that's kind of a straight, lively one. Gets a hop on it, and he pitches up in the strike zone with it. That's the hardest one he's thrown tonight.
Fastball away, a ball and 2 strikes. All the way to the screen. It's 2-2. Two out, nobody aboard. The Mets lead at 2-1. Anybody's game here in the bottom of the 3rd. Little tap towards second. Lemke in, up, throws him out, inning over. And Peter Smith breezes through the 3rd inning in 1-2-3 fashion. He's set down 6 men in a row. We've played 3 at Shea. 2-1 New York. Here, Ronnie Gant will lead it off for Atlanta, and standing in with the play-by-play story, here's Don Sutton.
All right, Skip. Gant, Justice, and Bream. Gant single back in the 1st inning, but was thrown out trying to steal second with Justice up there. Runs average now up into the 220s. Whitehurst, his first one inside corner, strike 1. Whitehurst has been pitching the Braves right-handers down and in successfully to this point. That's a dangerous area to throw. Good breaking ball, misses. It's 1-1. Here's how good his control. We mentioned before how good it had been. Less than 2 walks per 9 innings, one of the best in the National League. Breaking ball, nice stop by Howard Johnson. That'll rob Gant.
Braves are swinging the bat pretty well against Whitehurst. You see the extension there. And just great reactions by Howard Johnson. Fine play, 1 up.
And here's David Justice. Justice 0 for 1. Struck out to start the 2nd inning. He was actually at the plate when Ron Gant was thrown out going to second. 2-1 Mets. Breaking ball misses, 1-0. Big Braves fan from Durango, Colorado, Tim LaFrance, is visiting tonight watching the Braves. It's a part of his 8-city baseball trip that he's going to be making here in the next few days. Three Rivers, Yankee Stadium, Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Shea tonight, Montreal tomorrow to watch the Braves. And he's going to finish it up with Fenway Park, and then the Braves and the Phillies back in Philadelphia. Outside is 3-0 to Justice. He must have a pretty understanding wife and kids to let him take in baseball like that. Green light at 3-0 comes up empty. 3 balls and 1 strike to Dave Justice. Looks at this one, ball 4. That's the first base on ball issued by Wally Whitehurst.
Here's a quick look at the other scores. Willie McGee extended his hitting streak to 17 games. Darrell Kyle was the loser, and De Jesus won for Philadelphia. Dodgers got a run in the ninth to make Jim Gott a winner. St. Louis hammered San Diego, and Cincinnati and Montreal. Lou Piniella has been kicked out of that game. In the American League, one score of interest, Minnesota got 4 in the first against the Yankees in the Metrodome.
Still 2-1 Mets. Justice at first. Bream steps in. Ball 1 is low. Sid is 0 for 1, but has hit in 27 out of his last 34. There you see his numbers. The Sweetonics have just moved up from Stone Mountain to Westport, Connecticut. Couldn't wait to get in and see the Braves. They're taking in all 3 against the Mets here. 1-0 to Bream. Deep to right field. Brooks is back. He's looking up at the wall. It's out of here. A 2-run homer from Sid Bream. Home run number 8, RBIs number 31, 32. Braves lead it 3-2.
That's the other thing about the Atlanta lineup. It used to be if one or two guys didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. Well, they got Gant, and they pitched around Justice, and Green made them pay. 3-2 Atlanta.
Still only one out, and here's Greg Olson. Greg got his pockets picked back in the second inning as Kevin McReynolds made a nice running, diving catch near the left field line to rob him of a base hit. Greg's average right at 300. That's outside. It's 2-0. Greg was 2 for 4 last night. Steve Avery very quick to throw a lot of bouquets Greg Olson's way as to the job he did catching it. Comes up empty. It's 2-1. Said he called a great game and kept him going right on through the 9th inning when could have had a shutout. And if you look at all the replays, the Howard Johnson home run was foul. Inside, it's 3-1 to Olson. This one's drilled to left field. McReynolds will go back to the warning track, but he's got room. So Olson, too, hits it on the nose, but couldn't get any lift. That'll be out number 2 for the Braves here in the 4th. They will bring up Mark Lemke. Lemke led off the 3rd inning with a triple. And it looked like the Braves were going to come up empty on that as Whitehurst struck out Belliard and Smith. But a clutch bounce single up the middle from Otis Nixon got the Braves on board. 1-0 to Lemke. 3-4-0 Braves, 2-3-0 the Mets. They're in the 4th inning in Montreal. Cincinnati still leads it 1-0.
Don Leo Mazzoni's dad up here taking in the 3-game series. Delightful gentleman.
3-0 is outside. I haven't found him in the stands. I want to see if he rocks while Leo rocks. Leo, who sits and watches every one of his pitchers, just rocking back and forth. He doesn't even know he's doing that. That catches the inside corner. It's 3-1. Braves pick up 2 more runs, and they now lead the National League with 277 of them. That's outside, ball 4. So all of a sudden, Whitehurst, right after we show you his stats under control, loses it, walks his second man. Rafael Belliard to be the batter. Iron Man Rafael Belliard played in every game, started every game for the Braves this year. Lemke's not going anywhere. Belliard's average at 238. It's in there, strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. I can't remember seeing Rafael attempt to bunt for a base hit this year, but Howard Johnson is in on the grass at 3rd. All the infield shortened up a step or 2. Again to first, and again Lemke is back. Mets shade him toward right field. Kevin McReynolds is straight away and pretty deep in left, but if you look where Coleman and Brooks are, one is shallow center, the other is deep second. Doesn't get the breaking ball. Foul tip. 0-2 to Belliard. Braves jump on their Delta charter after the game tonight, fly up to Montreal, where tomorrow open a 3-game weekend series. Glavine against Mark Gardner, 7:35 game tomorrow. Then again on Saturday night, 7:35, John Smoltz will be trying to win his third. He'll be hooked up against Dennis Martinez. And then Sunday, Charlie Lebrun against Chris Neville. All 3 on TBS. High and away, 1-2 to Belliard. Chases the curveball, comes up empty. Cerrone will tag him out, and that'll do it for the Braves here in the 4th inning, but not before they pick up 2. They take advantage of a walk, a home run. They leave 1 stranded at the end of 3.5. Braves lead it 3-2. Mets come into bat here in the 4th inning. We'll send up Brooks, Cerrone, and Elster. Pete Smith walked the leadoff man, Coleman. Magadan then double. Struck out Jeffries, then got McReynolds, but Johnson double. That's how the Mets got all their runs. They did it in the 1st inning. Since then, he has given up a leadoff double to Elster, but has retired the last 6. Brooks was walked intentionally. Nothing officially at the plate tonight. At 281 for the season. Inside corner, strike 1. Started off a little bit slowly coming back to the Mets. Got the home runs early on, but look at the batting average in May and June. In June, over 400. 3 home runs and 27 at-bats. He's a guy who can produce offensively. On the corner, nice pitch from Pete Smith. 1-2. About as consistent as you'll want to find. He might not hit 30 home runs, but he's hit at least 10 in each of his last 8 seasons. Checks his swing, misses inside. It's 2-2. Off the fist down the right field line. It'll get out of play. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Don and I went to the theater last night and ran into Joe Garagiola. Gee, he looks great. He's back on the Today Show. He's had some physical problems, but it looks wonderful.
And the 3 of us, or the 6 of us, outside, 3 and 2, got to see a wonderful play last night.
Will Rogers.
Follies,
yeah.
Now, could you picture Keith Carradine playing Will Rogers prior to that?
He done good, I thought, real good.
That's drilled to left field, but it's going to hang up for Otis Nixon. He'll run under it, make the put out. That's 7 in a row set down by Pete Smith. Remember his famous saying, "I never met a man I didn't like"?
Obviously, that was before the
entrance of ballpark.
No, before the entrance of producers into American life.
He also hasn't ridden to the ballpark in New York traffic either. Here's Rick Cerrone. Down the right field line. Justice, long run into foul territory. Will come up short. David looked like he may have banged into that railing there.
Here's another look. Really out of our view. He's a gamer, boy. Plays 100% all the time, no matter how many home runs he has and RBIs and all that stuff. He wants to win baseball games. Thank goodness, because there are some stars, you know, who, while they want to win, let their talking and their individual stats sort of get them detoured from what's really important.
1-1 to Cerrone. Braves at the breaking ball. It's 1-2.
In fact, you think about Justice's talents and his age, and you're talking about a potential superstar.
Now back still 1-2.
Which I think is one of the most overused phrases in all of sports. When you talk about superstar, to me, you mean Roberto Clemente or Willie Mays or Williams or Musial or DiMaggio or Babe Ruth, somebody like that.
Nolan Ryan. Correct.
Yes.
A little looper. Lemke on the run. Gloves that. Nice over-the-head catch by Mark Lemke. An excuse-me swing from Rick Cerrone. That's 2 outs.
This is Lemke's best position, second base. Reminds you a little bit out there physically and with his competitive nature of Glenn Hubbard, who patrolled that position for so many years for the Braves and is now coaching in the Braves system.
Here's Kevin Elster. Worked Pete Smith to 3-2 his first time up. Got a fastball inside, drilled it inside the line down the left field line for a double. Pete got the next 3, left him stranded at second. That's low. It's 2-0 to Elster. Elster hitting about 240 for the year, about 230 on the road, and about 250 at home. Over near the Braves dugout. Jeff Blauser will go near the coach's box. He'll take care of it. So it's an easy inning for Pete Smith as the Mets go in order here in the 4th inning. He has now set down 9 in a row as we head to the 5th. The Braves lead it 3-2. Pete Smith will lead it off. And you'll work in the promo. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay.
No, do it.
Well, it's normally when you do the promo, you talk first. And
I didn't think we were going to have time.
Well, you're right. We don't. Go ahead.
Duck it in anyway.
We'll do it later. U.S. Olympic gold follows Braves baseball Saturday night. There. Takes care of it.
1-1 to Pete Smith. Inside, 2-1.
We'll get more specific with that promo when time permits.
Off the fist. Nice play by Whitehurst. That'll do it for Pete Smith.
Yeah, the American divers compete for berths on the U.S. team that will go to the Pan Am Games in the HTH Classic. Also the World Race Walking Championships following the game. Ever seen those guys? They look like they ought to be arrested when they're zipping around town.
They're working their way up to Princeton where they'll be doing the U.S. Olympic gold. Here's Otis Nixon. Otis is grounded back to the pitcher, attempting to bunt, and has singled his single, a big one, back in the 3rd. Drove home Lemke with the first Braves run of the night. O is at 368 this year. Fouls it away, 1-1.
Just saw our charter land, so everything's okay. We'll be zipping on up to Montreal.
Which is half the trip. The bus ride will make up the other half.
Yes.
This is inside. It's 2-1. And for Otis Nixon, it'll be his first time back to where he spent a couple of years playing. Again, fouled away. It's 2-2. Braves have a number of folks up over 300. That's quite a change. Nice to see. You can see Otis leads the pack. Treadway, Justice, Pendleton, and Olson all started tonight over the 300 mark. Otis with the base hit pushed his to 368. Whitehurst will have to hurry. Does. Gets him. That's 3 assists already tonight for Wally Whitehurst. One of his good attributes is he is a good fielding pitcher. Uncharacteristically last inning, walked a couple of guys. He had only walked 7 all year till then. Here's Jeff Blauser. He's 0 for 2. Chip is going to join you tomorrow night, huh?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're leaving us. Your daughter's graduating from high school. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Foul ball from Blauser. Stacy's graduating from Capistrano Valley Christian High School tomorrow night. It's neat to be able to go back and to watch that. Excited about it. I think we about got Chip and his lovely wife Marla talked into spending the weekend in Montreal now. Doesn't get it. It's 0-2 to Blauser.
Trying to figure out what places I should recommend they go see while there.
Well, there's that little French restaurant that a lot of guys frequent. Shea something.
Yeah, but I don't.
They all sound alike.
May not be the ticket.
C-H-E-Z, not S-H-E-A. But then again, there are a number of Sheas up there, so they probably all look alike. Just missed inside. It's 2-2. Inside corner call, strike 3. Whitehurst gets Blauser. Has an easy inning. Braves go 1-2-3 here in the 5th. But as the Mets come up, another look at the inside fastball. As the Mets come to bat in the 5th, they trail the Braves. The score, 3-2 Atlanta.
The pitcher, Wally Whitehurst, leads off for the Mets. And over from radio to tell you about it, here's Pete Van Wieren.
Okay, thank you, Skip. Whitehurst 0 for 1, grounded out to third his first time, and the first pitch looped in the left center field, coming hard Otis Nixon. He'll get there. 1 pitch, 1 out, and Pete Smith continues to roll right along. That's 10 straight. He's retired now after a very shaky start. Back to the top of the order now, Vince Coleman, who has walked and struck out.
Dan and I were talking a little earlier. It's hard to figure which way it is, but when he works quickly, he seems to pitch well. When he takes a lot of time, his control is bad, and he seems to make bad pitches.
And the key for these last 3 innings, anyway, has been getting ahead of the hitters. Pitch to Vince Coleman, fouled away. He's ahead of Coleman 0-1. He needed 54 pitches to get through the first 2 innings.
7 of his 14 runs allowed this year, Al Galima tells me, in the first inning.
Yeah. But he has only thrown 27 pitches since the second inning. 1 ball, 1 strike on Coleman. 3-2 Atlanta. Braves need the win to stay within 2 of the Dodgers, who beat Pittsburgh today by a 3-2 score. Coleman trying to bunt his way on, fouls it off. It's 1-2. Glenn Serra brings us over a note. They've computed Pete Smith's earned run average in the first inning and in the rest of the game. His ERA in the first inning in the starts this year, 12.60. His ERA for the second inning and beyond, 1.27. Here's the 1-2 pitch, fouled away, still 1-2. And there are always questions about why do pitchers, and this is a problem that afflicts a lot of pitchers, have trouble in the first inning. Some say it's the warm-up habit. Do they warm up long enough, or maybe they warm up too long? Really hard to pinpoint why a pitcher would struggle early in the game, then cruise the rest of the way. A little chopper. It's going to be tough with Coleman's speed. Lemke, nice play on to first. Did he get him? Yes. Good play, Mark Lemke. Just did nip Vince Coleman at first for out number 2.
It would have been easy to give up on this ball. I didn't think he had a chance. It gets a big hop, and that really helped him on the play, and he got him. Watch him unload here.
So an excellent play by Lemke. And here's Dave Magadan. We were talking about this over on radio. One of the big differences in this Atlanta ball club and the clubs of the last 3 or 4 years, as Magadan looks at strike 1, is the depth on this team. You lose a Jeff Treadway, you lose a Terry Pendleton. You don't lose that much with Lemke and Blauser filling in. Much, much deeper ball club. Same is true in the outfield. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Inside to Magadan, 1-1. Magadan doubled in a run in the first inning, grounded out to short in the second. 11 in a row retired now by Pete Smith.
Dion had a hit and stole 3 more bases last night for Richmond.
2-1 the count. He's over 300 down there. He's playing quite well. Question is, what will his decision be in about another month? Baseball or football?
My guess would be football.
At least this year.
Because of the contractual situation.
Now 2-1 pitch to Magadan. Hit right back where it came from. That's going to get through. Base hit center field. His second hit of the night and of the series. That's the first base runner for the Mets since the leadoff double by Kevin Elster back in the second.
Here's the Magadan hit once more. Looked like a fastball down, but he didn't get it in as much as he wanted to.
It's the 4th hit of the night for New York off Pete Smith. And it brings up Greg Jeffries, who has struck out and fly to right. It's the breaking ball to first baseman Sid Bream, and this will end the inning. So the base hit by Magadan doesn't hurt. He is stranded at first. We've completed 5 here at Shea Stadium. It's the Braves 3 and the Mets 2. Rolls around. Ronnie Gant will lead it off against Wally Whitehurst. 3-2 Atlanta. There's a Mets fan who hasn't given up. Justice will follow, then Sid Bream. Crowd of about 25,000-26,000 or so here tonight. Gant 1 for 2. He's singled and grounded out to third. Rips this one fouled on the left side. Crowd might be bigger, except it's a little tough to get to Shea Stadium tonight. They had an oil spill on one of the major thoroughfares leading to the ballpark from Manhattan. A lot of traffic had to detour, including our bus.
And detour.
Hour and 15 minutes to get from Manhattan to the ballpark tonight. Pitch to Gant, hit foul off to the left. 0-2 the count.
Nice play by the Mets ball girl down there.
Three runs, 4 hits for Atlanta. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mets. We're in the top of the 6th. And the 0-2 on the way to Gant. Another breaking ball. This one missed outside, 1-2. We journey to Montreal after this game. The weekend series of the Expos starts tomorrow night. Tom Glavine going for his 11th win against Mark Gardner in the series opener. Here's the 1-2. Another breaking ball. Grounded to third. Howard Johnson. Across to Magadan. 1 down. Now David Justice, a strikeout victim in the second. He walked and scored in the 4th.
You know, Pete, you were talking about when guys can't play and other guys step forward. The other thing you like, they pitch around Justice last time up, and Bream hurts you. It used to be if you could get, well, for many years, if you could get Dale Murphy out, you had a better than average chance of beating the Braves. Well, Murph's not here anymore. But if you get Justice out or fail to pitch to him or get Gant out, there are other guys who can hurt you. That's how you win.
1 away, base is empty. Down the first baseline, but Magadan had him played there. Over to Whitehurst covering, 2 away. And now Sid Bream, whose 2-run homer back in the 4th inning, turned this game around. Braves were trailing 2-1 with a runner at first and 1 out in the 4th when Bream nailed one over the right field wall, his 8th homer of the year. Two outs, base is empty, and the pitch to Bream is popped high in the air to shallow left. Kevin McReynolds. there for the catch, and a very easy inning for Wally Whitehurst. The Braves go 1-2-3. He's now retired 7 straight. We move to the bottom half of the 6th inning. It's still 3-2 Atlanta.
A quick look at our Safeguard Safe at Second feature, which is the American stolen base leaders. Luis Polonia leads the way. Ricky Henderson will pinch him a bit. Tim Raines will have a good bit more than that before he's through.
And here's Kevin McReynolds to lead off the bottom half of inning 6. He is 0 for 2 tonight. A couple of ground outs to third. 3-2 Atlanta. Strike in the inside corner once again. Pete Smith getting ahead in the count. A ball and a strike now. Pete said that he really felt good his first 3 starts after coming off the disabled list. 4th start, he said the arm felt a little weary. But he looks like he's feeling good tonight. There's a strike at the knees, 1-2. Now the 1-2 on the way to McReynolds. Right back this way. Just missed us. 1-2. Had a foul ball come into this booth last night while Chip and Ernie were working the Sports South telecast. Breaking ball hit foul on the third baseline. They both ducked out of the way. The ball went back, ricocheted off the back wall. Before the inning was over, some fan had snuck in here and stolen the ball and taken off down the hallway and stopped by a security officer.
Is that right?
Yeah. Where that fan came from. Now the 1-2 on the way. High in the air down the left field line. In foul territory. And Otis Nixon. Did he catch that ball?
Yes, sir.
He did catch that ball. He disappeared from our view for just a moment. We saw him go flying into that corner, but somehow Otis Nixon found a way to make that catch. Most of the spectators here at Shea couldn't tell either. A very delayed reaction from them.
This will be our first look at it. He doesn't give up on this ball. He goes as far as he can go. Wow, what a play.
Tremendous play by Otis Nixon.
Good thing they have that fencing, padded fencing out there. He could have really gotten hurt.
A brilliant defensive play by Nixon for the out. Here's Howard Johnson, who singled in a run on the first, grounded out his next time, takes outside, ball 1. So each left fielder has turned in a defensive gem tonight. McReynolds robbed Greg Olson of extra bases early in the game. 2-0 the count now, and Howard Johnson.
Reds and Expos 2-2 after 5.
How about those Minnesota Twins?
There's something, I think. 5-0 tonight in the 4th over the Yankees.
They've won 11 straight.
You know, we came in here, you have to laugh. Some of the New York press is so provincial.
Here's the 2-0 to Howard Johnson. Hit sharply, but right at the second baseman, Mark Lemke. And quickly 2 are down here in the 6th.
Come in here, and all the headlines are how the Yankees are back, and the Yankees are going to win the pennant, and the Yankees are going to supplant the Mets, and all this stuff about how great the Yankees are playing.
They weren't even back to 500 yet.
No, they're 4 games under. Come on.
They had won something like 10 out of 13, and that was enough to get everybody in town on the Yankee bandwagon.
Not that they're a bad team at all, but
There's Hubie Brooks, who has walked and flat out. The walk was intentional back in the first inning, 0-1. (3-2) Atlanta. 2 outs, bottom half of the 6th inning. And the 0-1 on the way to Hubie. Taken down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. How about the restaurant owner in Minnesota? Did you read that story today?
Yeah, what is it, 10,000 hamburgers?
10,000 free hamburgers he offered to give away if any Minnesota professional team would win 10 straight games. No sooner had he spoken than the Twins reeled off 10 in a row. 10,000 hamburgers and he'll be given away at some kind of a special promotion in July.
I'm sure he'll do very well out of that.
Oh, I'm sure he will too. The publicity alone, it's already made the New York press. 1-2 the count on Hubie Brooks. And the 1-2 on the way from Pete Smith. Little fly ball down the right side. Foul again. Green chasing. Justice chasing. Neither gets to it. Still 1-2. Mets got both their runs in the first inning. A walk, a balk, a run-scoring double by Dave Magadan. Later in the inning, a run-scoring single by Howard Johnson. Then the Braves picked up a run in the third. Then the Breen two-run homer in the fourth to give Atlanta the lead. Here's the 1-2. Got him with a curveball. Hubie Brooks down on strikes. Strikeout number 3 of the game for Pete Smith. And a 1-2-3 bottom half of the 6th inning. Through 6, still Atlanta 3, New York 2. There's your score as we move to the top half of the 7th inning. Greg Olson, who is lined out to left, robbed of extra bases by a diving catch from Kevin McReynolds. He also fly deep to left. McReynolds catching up with it on the warning track. So Greg 0 for 2. Ball 1 to count on Olson. Mark Lemke will follow, and then Rafael Belliard. Braves trying to stay within 2 of the Dodgers. They need a win here tonight to do it. Two 2-0 on Greg Olson. He and Wally Whitehurst, former minor league teammates. Now a 2-0 pitch, and that misses low and inside. 3-0. Juan Berenguer beginning to loosen up now in the Atlanta bullpen as Olson takes a strike. Pete Smith has thrown 103 pitches over the first 6 innings. They're really not worried about his number of pitches like they were the first couple of times he started. But Berenguer getting ready just in case. Full count 3-2 on Greg Olson. Whitehurst wants a new baseball. Here's the payoff now to Olson. Broken bat, little pop toward first. The first baseman in foul territory, Dave Magadan, makes the catch. Part of that bat went flying up into the stands over the Braves dugout. Everybody appears to be okay. Watch this. Talk about getting sawed off. Look at all that's left in the hands of Greg Olson. The ball went one way, the meat end of the bat went the other. Magadan caught the ball, and a fan caught the bat. 1 down. Here's Mark Lemke, who had a triple to lead off the 3rd inning. Came in to score Atlanta's first run when Otis Nixon singled him home. He walked in the 4th inning. He's also had a good night defensively at second. Ball and no strikes, the count on Mark Lemke. Lemke in there again tonight for Jeff Treadway. He's really had some problems, Jeff has, the last few weeks between the hamstring and the flu bug. He didn't even come to the ballpark last night, Treadway, because of the flu. He was feeling better today and is available to pinch hit. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Taken for a strike, 2-1 to Lemke. Another case, though, what we were talking about earlier. Jeff Treadway unable to play. You don't lose much with Mark Lemke. Here's the 2-1. Little tap toward third. Howard Johnson had him played shallow and fires a strike to first for out number 2. That's 9 straight now retired by Wally Whitehurst. And Rafael Belliard will step in. He has struck out twice. Bobby Cox paid him maybe the ultimate compliment a manager can pay to a player last night, saying that of all the players he's managed, major league and minor league, he thinks that Rafael Belliard's the most dependable defensive player at any position that he's ever had on a ball club that he's managed. He's that high on Belliard defensively at short. Little tap to third again off the glove of Johnson and trickling past Elster in the left field. Belliard reaching.
You just wonder when that little guy's going to need a rest, though. He has played every game. He's only 5'6". He's doing a terrific job, but you don't want to wear him out too early. Here's a look at this again. He went down and got it, hit it sharply. Johnson just deflected it out of Elster's way. He could have never thrown him out anyway, Elster. And Tommy Gregg is going to come out here and pinch hit for Pete Smith.
Hit number 5 allowed by Whitehurst. Gregg 273. He's 3 for 11. We mentioned that pitch count on Pete Smith, 103, and they must be a little concerned that Pete might be losing a little, although he certainly didn't look like it.
Isn't it time, though, that he...
Well, they were talking before the game saying that no more pitch counts, no more pitch limits, we should say, on Pete Smith. But we will get the bullpen in this game. Smith had come out to the on-deck circle. He wanted to stay in. Tommy Gregg is 2 out of 8 as a pinch hitter. He's the batter here with 2 outs and Belliard aboard. Braves trying to increase a 1-run lead. Activity now in the Mets bullpen. That's Jeff Innes, a right-hander. Belliard back to first. 3-5-0 for the Braves, 2-4-0 for the Mets. Top of the 7th.
Smith had retired 15 of the last 16 men he faced.
Ball 1 low and away to Tommy Gregg. Well, we'll see if the bullpen can preserve it now for Peter Smith, who has certainly pitched well enough to win again tonight. He's had a couple of tremendous outings, but no wins to show for it yet. Here's the 1-0 to Gregg. Taken for a ball, 2-0. There's your runner at first, Rafael Belliard. 2 men are out. The base hit by Belliard broke a string of 9 in a row, retired by Wally Whitehurst. In his starts, Whitehurst very seldom has lasted this long. He's mostly been a 4, 5, 6 inning guy when he started. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Called a strike. Throw down to first. Belliard gets back. Count 2-1 on Gregg. Braves are 16-10 on the road this year. Still a game under 500 at home. The road has treated Atlanta very well. There you see only 2 teams, the Pirates and the Angels, have better road records than Atlanta. Still a 2-1 count on Tommy Gregg. And the 2-1 pitch on the way popped him up shallow left. Elster back. McReynolds coming in. Kevin McReynolds will get there. And that's all for Atlanta in the 7th. Well, now it's up to the Braves bullpen to preserve the victory for Pete Smith. We go to the bottom half of inning 7. Still 3-2 Atlanta. Score, we move to the bottom half of the 7th inning, and Juan Berenguer takes over for Pete Smith. Berenguer's 27th appearance out of the Braves pen. There you see the numbers on Juan, the general, as he's called by his teammates. League hitting only .211 against him. And he's got the lower third of the Mets order due up here in the 7th inning. Cerrone, Elster, and probably a pinch hitter for Wally Whitehurst as Jeff Innes continues to work in the Mets bullpen.
Say this, Pete. Bobby Cox isn't afraid of being second guessed. Here's a guy who just set down 15 out of 16. You take him out and bring in a bullpen that has struggled. There's no question about it. So you leave yourself wide open. But he's not worried about what other people think. It's trying to win the game, I guess.
I was a little surprised that he didn't let Pete start the inning, and maybe if he gave up a base runner, if you want to go to your bullpen, do it then. But we'll see how this works. Berenguer has picked up 3 of his 7 saves by going 3 innings. And here's Rick Cerrone to lead off the bottom of the 7th. Get into a force play and popped out. Up high, ball 1. And that misses upstairs. 2-0 the count now on Cerrone. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's a strike, 2-1. This is where it all began for Juan Berenguer. He was originally a member of the New York Mets organization. His first major league time came with the Mets, a little bit in 78, a little bit in 79, and a little bit in 1980 before he was dealt. Pops him up toward short, Rafael Belliard. 1 down. And Kevin Elster will step in. He is doubled and fouled out to third. While Berenguer was pitching in the Mets minor league system at Tidewater, you may remember a Braves infielder named Rob Belwar, who played briefly in the major leagues, and Belwar was playing at Richmond at the time, got hit and suffered a fractured jaw on a fastball that got away from Berenguer. He was much wilder back in those days. Gary Templeton has moved on deck to pinch hit for Whitehurst. The count 1 ball, no strikes on Kevin Elster. Foul back, 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves up 3-2 are in the bottom half of inning 7. Berenguer trying to save it for Pete Smith, who worked 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, walked 2, struck out 3, committed 1 balk. Now the 1-1 on the way. The breaking ball missed, 2-1. Dodgers were winners today, 3-2. Braves must win this one to stay within 2 games of the top in the National League West. We'll be looking at all the scores just prior to the next inning. The 2-1 on the way to Elster pops him up foul. This one will drift out of play. And it's even now, 2-2. Now the 2-2 to Kevin Elster. Breaking ball, tapped foul. Still 2-2. Mets have a big weekend coming up. They've got their Heroes game on Saturday, bringing back members of the 69 team, members of the 81 team. That's it for Elster. Berenguer records his first strikeout. 2 down, and now Gary Templeton to pinch hit for Wally Whitehurst.
Berenguer went with his strength here. Fastball. Might not have been quite that fast as that replay, but he had plenty on it.
That pitch officially clocked at 176 miles an hour on the radar on that replay. Here's Templeton.
I admire Elster for coming that close to that.
There you see the numbers on Gary, just recently acquired from San Diego for Tim Tuffle. Tuffle's moved in as the everyday second baseman for the Padres. And Templeton hits a ground ball to first. Fair ball. Nice play. Sid Bream. Berenguer over, and that's it for the Mets. Berenguer gets him 1-2-3 in the seventh. We've completed 7 at Shea with our score. Braves 3, Mets 2. Before we go to the 8th inning, let's take a look at our Delta scoreboard. A lot of afternoon activity in the National League. Cubs beat the Giants. Pilecki over Wilson. Bell and Dawson home runs for the Cubs. Phillies over Houston. That game had 7 errors. 5 errors made in the first inning by those two teams. DeJesus beat Kyle. Dodgers a 3-2 winner over the Pirates. Gott got the win. Howell the save. Tomlin was the loser. St. Louis all over San Diego. Tewksbury beat Hamaker. Adley Hamaker's first turn since coming off the DL. Cincinnati, Montreal, they're tied at 2. Mike Fitzgerald is homered for Montreal. They are in the 6th. Over in the American League quickly. Kansas City, Baltimore tied in the 5th inning. Toronto leading Cleveland 1-0 behind Jimmy Key going for his 10th win. Minnesota trying to win their 12th straight. Looks like they will. Scott Erickson going for his 10th for the Twins tonight. Texas a 5-0 lead. Julio Franco a home run for Texas. Detroit plays at Seattle later on. For complete scores and highlights, tune in to CNN Sports tonight, 11:30 Eastern. Nick Charles and Fred Hickman will have all that action for you at 11:30 Eastern time. Well, here it's 3-2. And due up in the top half of the 8th inning, the top of the order for Atlanta to face Jeff Innes on in relief of Wally Whitehurst. To tell you all about it, once again, here's Skip.
Okay, Pete, thanks very much. Innes, a sidearmer out of Decatur, Illinois, resides now down in Jupiter, Florida, near where the Mets train. Nixon 1 out of 3, an RBI single in the 3rd and a big hit. Runner at 3rd, nobody out. 2 strikeouts later, Nixon delivered a single up the middle. The sidearm breaking ball inside, 1 ball, no strikes. A little insurance couldn't hurt. Whitehurst went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 homer, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. On the outside corner, Nixon not too sure about that. It evens now at 1-1. He bunts, but foul back. Cerrone had no play. A ball and 2 strikes. Minnesota after 4, 7-0 over the Yankees, as Pete just mentioned. Well, they are doing it. They had the hangman's noose ready for Tom Kelly up there, but not now. 2-2 is the count. Nixon, Blauser, and Gant, the first 3. He's out of there. Breaking ball over the inside corner. Innes strikes out the first man he faces.
A lot of times side-arming right-handers have a lot of trouble with left-hand hitters. They get to look at that ball a little bit longer because of the length of the time it takes for a right-handed side-armer to release it. But he had Nixon frozen on that one.
Jeff Blauser 0 for 3, and that's news the way he's been swinging the bat. Breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Rubber game of the 3-game series. 6 more to go on this trip. 3 in Montreal, 3 in Philadelphia. That sweeps outside. It's 1-1.
Julio Valera, the right-hander. Rich Sauber, the left-hander.
Just missed the outside corner. 2-1. Ronnie Gant is next, then David Justice. Shot to third. Hojo has it. 2 down. Braves have been quiet lately. 12 of the last 13 Atlanta batters have been retired.
Since the home run by Bream, the only base hit in the 75 bell yard.
So Ronnie Gant is the batter. He's 1 out of 3. High pop fly. Who's going to get it? Magadan calls off Cerrone, and just like that, the inning is over. And Ennis has never worked an easier inning in his life. 1, 2, 3, nothing doing. Bottom half of the 8th inning rolls around. Braves cling to a 3-2 lead.
Here's our question of the night. Since 1969, has a division ever finished alphabetically by city? Comes from Kurt Schmidt, Topeka, Kansas. The answer is no.
And Kurt, get help. First pitch fouled off by Coleman. It's 0-1.
We will send you one of our autographed pictures, and even we are not lined up in alphabetical order.
That's also correct. 3-2 ball game. Coleman, Magadan, and Jeffries, the first 3 for the Mets. The top of their order, Juan Berenguer trying to save it for Peter Smith.
They have a giveaway item tonight, Mets athletic socks. And look what the fans are doing with them.
Knowing you, I'm surprised you're not waving a pair. The 1-1 pitch. Foul back. It's 1-2. How many years ago was that you ran 1 pair short on a trip and you wore your Met sweat socks on?
Yeah, I did on the last day.
A ball and 2 strikes. Bounced it foul. That was a good breaking ball. Coleman tonight has walked, struck out, and bounced to second. Two balls, 2 strikes. Coleman looking for his first hit of the series. He's 0 for 5. You don't want to put this guy on. He leads the league in stolen bases. The payoff pitch. Nowhere near. So there's the tying run aboard. The Braves bullpen is busy way out in left field. Magadan studies Mike Cubbage, his third base coach.
Mike Stanton and Randy St. Clair in the Braves bullpen.
Here's that "Let's Go Mets" chant. There he goes. There's the throw. Got him. What a throw by Olson. Great tag by Lemke. 1 out.
Boy, that's a huge, huge out. Greg Olson, who's quickened his release by just taking 1 step now. And Coleman got a good jump on Berenguer that time, too. Olson's throw had to be right on the money. Lemke had to make the quick tag. Both things occurred. The throw is there. The quick tag by Lemke. Coleman is off the bases.
Looked like he slowed down a little bit as he started his slide. The pitch was a strike to Magadan. High fly ball center field. Gant comes in. He's there. 2 down.
We're going to see again Vince Coleman being gunned down here by Olson. See how quickly Olson gets rid of the ball? Doesn't rush things, though. Keeps everything together before making the throw. And for Vince Coleman, the 11th time he's been caught trying to steal this year. He's been successful 33 times.
Jeffries, the batter, 0 for 3 tonight. A strike, a breaking ball inside corner.
Tell you what, the last 3 or 4 days, you got to give Greg Olson a lot of credit for the way he's played, both offensively and defensively.
Just missed the outside corner. It's 1-1.
He had that 4-hit game Sunday, had a 2-hit game last night, called a perfect game for Steve Avery, who didn't shake him off once all night.
Fly ball, left center field. Nixon is there, and what started very scarily comes to a routine close. No hits, no runs, no errors, and none left. We move on to the 9th. A little insurance couldn't hurt. It's 3-2 Atlanta. We go to the 9th inning. Rich Sauber is the new pitcher for the Mets, making his 3rd appearance. He has an earned run average of 9. He's kicked around primarily in the Pirates and Montreal systems until this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now pitching for the Mets, batting ninth, number 39.
So Jeff Innes went an inning, struck out 1, pitched perfectly, and David Justice leads off the 9th for Atlanta. Looking ahead to the bottom half, McReynolds, Johnson, and Brooks. Perhaps the 3 guys other than Coleman you fear the most in their lineup will bat in the 9th inning. Justice, Bream, and Olson do here for Atlanta. A right-hander up and throwing in the New York bullpen again. Braves bullpen quiet at the moment. He bunts down the 3rd base line. Hojo barehand plays, got no chance. Throw gets away. Justice will stay where he is. If he'd have picked it up a step earlier, he could have made 2nd, but he was so intent on hustling down that line. That's a good play by Justice.
It is, because 3rd baseman Howard Johnson obviously playing deep against a hitter like David Justice. All he wants to do is get on base, trying to get something going here in this 9th inning. He didn't pick up this ball once it got past the 1st baseman right away. If he did, he would have been down at 2nd base. By the time he did pick it up, it was too late for him to try. That's just smart baseball.
And Sid Bream is the batter. To first, that semi-balk move. Bream tonight has 1 hit, a big one, a 2-run homer in the 4th. Time called as they go out to get some paper. It was that blow that put the Braves ahead. When we have a moment, we'll show it to you. And then hope he can duplicate it here in the 9th. An insurance run at first, nobody out. Again to first, runner back. Sauber has a very herky-jerky motion. All elbows and kneecaps when he comes after you.
Reminds you a little bit of Larry McWilliams.
He sure does. He's bunting, and he does, and it's a good one. Sauber's only play will be to first, a 1-4 sacrifice. So Bream does his job, and the runner is at 2nd. And Olson and Lemke will have a chance to drive him home. Olson has lined to left twice and popped to first, so he's due. Rick Cerrone looks into the dugout. Let's see if they're going to fill out. It may not matter. Here comes Bud Harrelson. He's got a right-hander in the bullpen. Is that Julio Valera?
I believe it is.
Just called up from Tidewater. And it looks like he'll get the call here. Although no sign has gone out yet. Terry Tata is going to go out and force the issue here. I really don't know what he's waiting for. His pitcher is ready, and now he makes the move. So Sauber went a 1/3 of an inning and allowed a hit. No runs yet, but the runner in scoring position is his responsibility. So Greg Olson is the scheduled hitter, and the new pitcher is Julio Valera. Valera completes his warm-up toss. And he will face Greg Olson for Atlanta. That's how he did at Tidewater.
And Olson ought to be familiar with him because he was a minor league teammate of Valera's for a couple of years.
He's out of San Sebastian, Puerto Rico. Has been at it since 1986. Pitched briefly with the Mets last year. Was 1-1 with a earned run average of almost 7. So Olson greets him here. Boy, an insurance run or two would hit the spot. Braves lead it 3-2. Trying to get Pete Smith his first victory of the year. Not only can Olson fend for himself against Valera, he probably proved helpful to Mark Lemke in the on-deck circle about what this guy throws. Justice at second. Check swing strike fastball up and in. 0-1. We're in the ninth. It's 3-2 Atlanta. The Braves have out hit them 6-4. Hot shot, but right at the shortstop. Elster has it. 2 down.
When Valera was called up, they sent down infielder Chris Donalds. He was called up because Alejandro Pena has been having a little problem with his right shoulder. The doctors examined it. They've told him not to do any throwing for 3 or 4 days. They haven't disabled him yet. But Valera right now pitching out of Pena's spot in that bullpen.
They're going to put Lemke on and pitch to Belliard. An intentional walk will be issued here. And Belliard will be the batter. The little guy has excelled in spots like this all year. Can he do it again? We will soon see. The wind begins to whip here, and the trash blows around the ballpark. Lemke tripled in the third and scored the first Atlanta run. He has now walked twice and bounced out as well, and here's Belliard. They swing way around toward right field. And Johnson plays wide of the bag at third. If he could ever pull it down the line, 1 run would certainly score, and maybe 2.
Braves hitting coach Clarence Jones has been working a little bit with Belliard on inside pitches to try to beat that shift and pull one now and then, and he has done it a couple of times last few weeks.
2 on, 2 out. Fly ball right field into foul territory. Brooks can't get there. It's 0-1. Justice returns to second. Lemke to first. There's Clarence Jones looking on in the Atlanta dugout. A nail biter here.
In last night's game, first 2 times up against Ron Darling, Belliard grounded out hard to third and lined out to short, so he was able to pull inside pitches on those 2 occasions.
His base hit tonight was off Howard Johnson's glove. High shot. They should be out of the inning. Elster to first. Inning over. So Valera comes on and pitches out of trouble. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 2 left. Bottom of the ninth, last chance for the Mets. They trail the Braves 3-2. If Atlanta wins the game in this inning, it will be because of this man and what he did in the 4th inning, Sid Green.
They just walked David Justice pitching around him. Green came to the plate. And a fastball down the heart of the plate, deposited it over the right field wall. 8th home run he's hit here in Shea Stadium. And that right now is the difference in the ballgame. That and the pitching of Pete Smith and Juan Berenguer.
Kevin McReynolds leads it off. McReynolds tonight is 0 for 3. In the series, he's 2 out of 10, but one of those hits a homer. Stay right, breaking ball. That's the way the bottom of the ninth starts. 3-2 Atlanta. Howard Johnson is on deck. High pop, short left field. Who wants it? Nixon. Battles a little bit of a wind and makes the catch, one away. Now Howard Johnson comes to the plate. He turns around, or rather he stays batting left-handed. And he's a much better left-hand hitter, 274 with 9 homers from that stand. As a right-hand batter, just 192. Hubie Brooks is on deck, another home run threat. Into the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes. Ojo out of the batter's box. Berenguer waits for it. High, 2-0. Two balls, no strikes. 1 out of the ninth. The Dodgers won their game this afternoon, 3-2 over the Pirates. High pop foul back. Olsen comes back. Will he have room near the stand? He's got it. 2 down. And it's all up to Hubie Brooks. And with that wind swirling, that was a tough play for Olsen. He handled it beautifully.
When leading after 8 innings this year, the Braves are 25-1. The Mets have rallied from behind in the 9th inning for 4 victories this year. This is a good play by Olsen. We saw Nixon have trouble in left field because of the wind. The wind playing some tricks with this one, too.
It's all up to Hubie Brooks. 10 homers on the year. High, 1 ball, no strikes. Berenguer has thrown 2 home run balls in 36 and 2/3 innings. Popped him up. This should do it. Who wants the ball in this win? It's going to be Blauser. He's in trouble. He's got it, and the Braves win. Wow. Berenguer does the job, and Bobby Cox's gamble pays off. And the Braves win 2 out of 3 in New York. 3-2 the final score. I can't wait to see Blauser on the bus. We'll be back with totals and highlights right after this.
Well, the Braves take 2 out of 3 from the New York Mets and remain just 2 games behind the Dodgers after a 3-2 victory tonight over New York. The Dodgers also won their game today, 3-2. A little bit of excitement at the very end of it, though, with Juan Berenguer on the mound. 2 men out, bases empty. Hubie Brooks upset with himself, but he didn't know how tough a play this was going to be for Jeff Blauser, who started out about midway between third base and the mound. Now watch him take off here. 14 steps to the left, 5 steps backwards, and it's out number 3, and a Braves victory. Totals on the night for Atlanta: 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 5 left for New York, 2-4-0. They left 4. Pete Smith gets the win. He's 1-0. Juan Berenguer his 8th save, and Wally Whitehurst, the loser, he's 3-3. Here's the other scores in the National League this afternoon. The Cubs beat the Giants 4-3. Mike Bilecki picked up his 8th win. Paul Ossenmacher got the save. George Bell and Andre Dawson hit home runs off losing pitcher Trevor Wilson. In Houston, in a game that saw 7 errors committed, 5 in the first inning, Philadelphia beat the Astros 5-4. Jose De Jesus gets the win. He's 3-2. Darryl Kyle, the loser, he is 0-2. The Dodgers winning over Pittsburgh with a 9th inning run. Jim Gott got the save. Jim Gott got the win, rather. Jay Howell got the save over Randy Taublin. 3-2, Dodgers over the Pirates. They're still 2 up on Atlanta. St. Louis pounded San Diego 12-1. Ozzie Smith, the offensive hero, he had a double and a triple in that game. Bob Tewksbury goes to 5-2. He also drove in 2 runs. Adley Hammaker, just off the DL, made his first start. It was not a good one. Tonight, Cincinnati leading Montreal. They're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. 3-2. Chris Hammond against Brian Barnes. Mike Fitzgerald, a home run for the Expos. Over in the American League, Kansas City and Baltimore tied at 4. They go to the 8th inning. Kevin Apier facing Roy Smith. Danny Tarnapol, a home run for Kansas City. Toronto has shut out Cleveland again. Boy, the Indians really having trouble scoring runs. Jimmy Key pitched a 2-hitter tonight. He's now 10-2. Charles Nagy, the loser, he is 2-7. Minnesota trying for their 12th straight, leading the Yankees 7-2. They're in the 6th inning behind Scott Erickson, who's seeking his 10th win. Chili Davis, a home run for Minnesota. Kevin Maas has hit one for New York. Mike Witt started the game for the Yankees. Texas 8-2 over Chicago. They're only in the 5th inning in that game. Alexander against Hibbard. Franco and Sierra have homered for the Rangers. Detroit failed to score top of the 1st. Seattle now batting. Terrell against DeLucia.
Final here again. The Braves make it 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Stay 2 behind the Dodgers. 3-2 the final score. We journey to Montreal now. Take on the Expos tomorrow night. We'll have it for you at 7:30 on WTBS. Tom Glavine against Mark Gardner. Our movie feature coming up next, Popeye Doyle with Ed O'Neill. So for Pete Van Wieren, for Don Sutton, for our producer, Ro Backfish, our director, Lonnie Dale, our technical director, Beepin Vidge, our associate director, Lori Brooks, and graphics, Hal Galima and Ashley Gallagher. Sorry, Ashley. And for our engineer in charge, Bill Freeberger, Skip Carey from New York. So long, everybody.